Hey guys, this training video will teach you how to perform the Parsec information extraction qualification task. Now, this qualification task, this training will also can also be served as the production task because it will be exactly the same. Now, basically, this is how the task will look like. You will be given a reference document, which is actually a SEC document. Now, this task basically requires you to go through SEC documents. Public listed companies normally, when they go to file to become a public listed, they will publish this document, right? So this is what we are interested in, and what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to extract certain information, okay, based on the guidelines given into this particular spreadsheet document that you have. Okay, I'm just going to show you the spreadsheet document quickly. So these are the headers that you have, and you need to extract certain information into the respective uh, sections that are given. Okay, now there are definitions for each of this and what goes into each of this section, and we will go through this in detail. All right, now first things first, I'd like to spend some time to go through I'd like to spend some time to go through the document itself, the instruction document, on what the purpose of this task and what you're supposed to do. So basically, this is the instruction document. All right. Now, what you're supposed to do is you will be basically required to examine and extract required data and information from the document that you are given through the links. Now, all the extracted data should be filled up in the Excel sheet that is given to you. Now, basically, what will you be given is that you'll be given two links, a link which contains the document itself, as I told you, and another link that has the delivery of that particular whatever you're extracting. You need to put it in this sheet. Okay, now again, that's the worker alias. You put in your worker ID or you put in your worker alias, okay, depending on which you have. And also, before you submit, you need to answer these two questions. Okay, I'll show it to you how what you need to do. Okay, basically you need to count the number of rows that you have in the delivery sheet. Okay, so I'll just show you everything later, what you need to do for these two fields before you actually submit the task. Okay, now moving into the instructions. So here's how the document will look like, and here is how the Excel sheet will look like once you have filled up the respective columns. Now basically how it will look like here is that you will have the information from here to here will not change. It will be the same information that you're copying below, and the things that will change is this. Okay, because for every single document you'll have one spreadsheet where you will use that to extract the information out. Okay, I repeat again, this information will be the same throughout this whole document, throughout this spreadsheet. This information will, however, change according to what you're extracting. All right, now moving back to the instructions here, what are you expected to do? Now, you are expected to examine the document given to you. And in the document that you are given, you are required to look for all these informations and extract them into the documents that are given. Now, as I told you, this four information will not change. Okay, it will be exactly the same. All right. Now, once you have identified the document information, you then extract the information and put it into the respective sheets. Now, what are you supposed to extract? Let's look at all this information in detail, and then I will show you one by one what is actually need to be extracted and how you actually extract it. Okay, number one, okay, they want to know the company information. Obviously, basically, before we move into the company, there are predominantly two types of document that you will be looking at. Okay, there will be one which is known as the 10K document, and number two, you will either get a 10Q document. These are the two types of document that you will actually get. Okay, and mainly 10K documents are, there are four parts to it. Okay, and 10Q, usually there are two parts to it. Okay, now we have to understand that each of these document made, and they might have their own formatting, but the header and also the key information, okay, across different companies and different 10K or 10Q documents will remain the same. So you, as much as you will get new documents from different companies, you should not be afraid, because essentially the content and the header type and all is essentially the same. Okay, so now what I'm going to do now is, okay, so first looking, just go through the document and see where can we find this information that we need. So as I told you, this for information, okay, does not change. Okay, I already have one sheet here open for me, so I'm just going to use this. Okay, make this smaller. Now I'm just going to make this smaller a bit. Now, the reason why we have this text 1, text 2, text 3, you might have this for your production, okay? Because certain columns here can only extract up to a certain number of words. And if you have a text that's very long, you basically will not have the entire text pasted into this column here. So that's why we have different breakdowns of it. So again, you need to make sure when you're copying, you check if whatever you're copying is pasted fully into the text field. If of course you realize that you missed out and you have reached the character limit, you need to break down the text and paste half of it here, half of it here. And of course, this is an extra. So again, let's not move too far. So let's look at the type of headers that are here. Number one, and basically we're not going to fill this up yet. We're just going to go through the instructions document and try to identify all this information based on the headers given. Okay, so number one, the company. Where is the company? So there are two examples here. Okay, and it's pretty straightforward for the company, because you can see that the company is usually found at the top, and essentially it will be found at every page of the company of the document. All right, so that is something that you will be able to easily identify. Now the second one is basically, all right, is the ticker. Now what is a ticker? A ticker is basically a trading symbol that is used by a company. Now again, usually the trading symbol is found here, but if let's say you're not familiar with the trading symbol, okay, what you can do is you can either just look here. Now you can see that it's written something here, WMT form 10K. So clearly this looks like the ticker. But let's say you get a 10Q document, okay? Again, you're not sure which is the uh, what do you call it, ticker. So what can you do? Okay, what you can do is that you can basically go through the document further down. Like for example here, I'm going further down to see if there's something that can help me identify which is the ticker. Okay, all right, it's not here. So what I can do is very easy. I open Google, okay, Google search, and I just Google Walmart ink stock, and I will have the ticker right here, WMT, and I look for the ticker in the document itself. Now here it is not in capital letters. Follow what is written in the document. Don't Google. The Google is just to tell you what is the ticker. You will need to search this information in the SEC document that you have. Now let's go to the 10Q document for this. Okay, let's try to look for this company if there is a ticker for this company. All right, so this is the ticker for this company, Lakeland Industries Inc. So let's try to see if we have it. Okay, if it's not here, okay, if let's say what you do is you control F, look for it. Now if let's say based on your findings you cannot find it here, the ticker, because you need to know if it's a capital, it's written in capital or written in small format, what you do is you just copy this, okay, as the ticker into the into the sheet. Okay, if you get a document where you really can't find the ticker. Okay, so this is something for you, right? Now again, so basically the ticker is usually in the document, but if it's not found, you need to Google this information. And once you Google, okay, if you cannot find if it's a capital or a small letter in this document, just copy the information, okay, from the Google search into the ticker into the respective column. All right, now moving on. Next would be type of document. So there are two types of document, as I told you. It's either the form 10K or the 10Q document. Okay, so here obviously you can see, all right, you know if it's a, now again we are only interested if it's a 10K or a 10Q. When you copy, you are not copying the whole thing, because the type of document is just this 10K, and for this it is 10Q. I don't want the word form. Okay, now next would be the date. This is the date, where you find the date. All right, same. Okay, so this is all information that, okay, that will not change throughout this whole document. And the URL, obviously, if you look at the task, this is the URL. Okay, so what are we going to do now? We are going to, okay, fill up the information that is not going to change, because that's pretty straightforward. Okay, so again, let's do this. So I'm just going to copy this. Okay, this is the URL that has been given. I put in the URL. Okay, now the company name, obviously I just copy it from here, Walmart Inc. Make sure you double click and paste. Okay, don't fix the spelling, don't fix anything. Okay, and the code, trading code is WMT. Paste. Document type, obviously it's here, it's the 10K document. Now the date, obviously this is the date. Okay, make sure the date is, okay, you don't copy the date like this. You need to type the date, okay, according to the day, comma, sorry, forward slash, sorry, slash 01/2019, because that's the date that is mentioned here, right? Okay, and item number, this is just the running number, so it will just be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, just goes down. So this is just a number, running number that shows you, and the total number here will be the number of rows that you have, that you need to fill up here. Okay, so I'm just going to put here number 1. Okay, so this is the all right. Now, next, what do we do? So we have filled in this information. Again, this information will not change. So you will just make a copy. If you're adding more stuff here, you'll just copy paste this as much as you need. And this will be a running number. So it will be just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no matter, as much as it goes. Okay. Careful when you're clicking and dragging, because it might change the numbers here. If you just click one row, okay, and you drag, you might alter the date and the information, so careful. Okay, now, okay, now we want to go deeper to talk about to understand certain things. For example, now, okay, let's talk about the parent section. That's the important thing. So these are all information that will change. Okay, so what is a parent section? Parent section is actually a header, okay, of the document. Okay, so it's basically a header where you will have uh, information to uh, to extract. Okay, that will be, it will be basically the title, so called the title of a particular section. All right, so here, for example, the parent section is this part 1. Okay, that will be the parent section. So let's go through the document and try to see if there we can identify. Now for this case, I would strongly suggest you look at the table of content or index where you can see the headers. So can you see this is the first header? Okay, now not basically when I say parent section, okay, now everything can be a parent section. Okay, everything here and everything here can be a parent section depending how many subdivisions fall under each of the headings. Okay, so this is just a rough guide to show you which of this can be a header. Technically all of this can be a header by itself depending on how deep it breaks down. Okay, you know how bullet numberings form? You have 1, then you have 1.1, then within 1.1 you have 1.1.1. So that's how this also works, but you're actually putting it on a spreadsheet. Okay, so that is the parent section. Okay, so now at what point, okay, I'll show it to you when actually something becomes a parent header and when something actually does not become a parent header. Okay, so now heading level, there are different heading levels which you need to put here. Okay, depending on the heading level. So heading level also can go as deep as it wants, and depending on how deep this document goes. Okay, so now here we have an example. We have this as, okay, heading 1. So I'm just going to zoom this in a bit for clarity. So heading 1. So these are heading 2 because they are, okay, they are heading 2 because they are at the same level. So below this main heading, there are 2 subheadings. And below this heading 2, there's some text. And then below heading number 2 here for the second section, there is another heading number 3. So you see how deep it goes. Okay, so we will basically, I will show you how to extract this information out. And here's another example. So you have heading 1 and then you have heading number 2, and then inside heading number 2 you have heading number 3, and then within heading number 3 you have the text. Same for this heading number 4. Okay, and then heading 5 is anything that is within inside subsection of heading number 4. Well, this is heading number 4, there's 2, and then heading number 4, another one, there's also 2. Okay, so, and also sections, these are all different sections of the document. Now an important note is that we are interested in generic information um, that is in relation to generic team information that is used for an SEC document. So if there are company specific, maybe a quote by the CEO, okay, which might be bold also, don't accidentally treat it as a header. Okay, now this kind of things, risk factor and all this economic factor, all these are generic terms which are related to the company's financing situation. So all these are generic terms which anyone can recognize in the field. Okay, but certain things that are company specific, talking about the company itself, or talking about the quote, especially like quotes or words of wisdom that is given by the CEO, okay, those things we are not interested in. Okay, and we want to basically have basically the goal of this exercise is that we want to be able to teach the machine how to recognize headers in SEC documents and classify the subheadings. So if you have an example where the information is too specific to the company itself, okay, where they are talking about maybe like building a new office, okay, new office address or something, those are not really interested those are not really concerns in the field of the SEC document. Okay. Now, mostly you will be including all the headers and all the text that is given, except for the tables. Okay. The tables information can be excluded. You are just following, you are just worrying about the header, subheading, and the text. Okay. And sometimes certain text will not be in bold form. So you need to be very careful. Okay. As I said, just remember you are interested in generic terms that may be used across different organizations, okay, but not specific to that particular company itself. Like for example, okay, long-term debt and all this information, okay, long-term debt and all this, these are all like this long-term debt and our total long-term debt, these are all generic terms. They are still not considered as company specific terms. Okay, of course you have data of company specific, but that is the nature of the document. You are going to be talking, the text will always be about the company. Okay, now again, all right, remember, okay, we are going to copy whatever that is relevant into the respective fields. Okay, so those are all the texts. So there are different ways on how you do it. Okay, okay, so number one, step one, actually we have done this already. Analyze the URL. Okay, familiarize yourself with the formatting. Okay, and then you start putting in the information. So we have done all the way up to the document type. Yeah, so right now we are at the parent section. So basically the parent section is the title or the first type of information that we want to take. Now sometimes, okay, a document may start with um, certain titles for the table. Okay, so this can also be considered as, okay, titles. Okay, or basically subheadings, I would say, because part 1 is here and there's another sub heading 2 here. Okay, so this will be heading number 3 depending on the type of document you get. Okay, again, company name on the on every page we are not interested. Okay, but information such as this, okay, we are interested. But again, we are starting off with part 1. Okay, so this is just the index. Okay, what I'm talking about is if you have a header for a particular table, that you can take it as a header or a subheading depending on what you have. So again, now let's move on. So let's try to go further. So now, parent section. Okay, here are some information that shows you, okay, how to extract the parent section. Okay, so there are different examples, depending on what type of document you have. Okay, whichever is the first title header, you will just take that. Now here we go. For this document, obviously, okay, you will have, okay, you will have this as the header. Okay, you start with part 1. This information is not relevant to you. Okay, now so let's start first. What are we going to do is that we are basically, okay, so now first things first, let's start part 1. Copy, put it here. That's the first thing you put. Remember, double click, paste. Okay, that's the part 1. And heading level for this section, okay, this is basically you are just starting heading level 1. Okay, and then the section is, now because there is no information that is, because this is a heading, now this is a subheading of this, correct? So because there is no text below this heading, okay, you will just, okay, put the same thing part 1 here, and there's no text here because below this section part 1 there is no text. Don't accidentally think this is the text because this is the subheading for the main section part 1. Okay, I hope I've made myself clear. Now the next thing you will do is, okay, under the parent section part 1, just copy paste, correct? Under the parent section part 1, you have a subheading of this. So this will be copy, okay, and paste it here because this is the subsection of this. Now, heading level, if this is number 1, then one level below will be number 2, okay? Now, again, make sure when you copy, you check if it's copying the whole thing. Now, next thing, what you're supposed to do is, inside this subheading, are there any text that you need to remember, take into consideration? Yes. So this is the, okay, subsection. Now, why didn't I copy this also? Okay, now let's look at this. Nature, looking forward statements, risk factors and uncertainties, and then below that there's the economic factor, operating factor. So again, okay, these things are quite relevant to the company, but at the same time, these are all relevant for all the different companies, correct? All right. So when we are going to copy, this looks like a subheading by itself, but this subheading is under this section, okay, which means, okay, let's not go too deep. Let's start by just copying this first. Copy, and I'm going to paste it here, and then I check if everything here is until okay. So provided by the act, and here also is provided by the act. So this is done. Now, okay, next thing is, what I've realized is that right now, okay, we are moving one level deeper where there is the subheading, another subheading. So if this is the subheading, which is the parent section? Is it this or this? It should be this because this is the subsection within this heading. So now this will become the parent section. So either you can copy this or you can just copy this, okay, into this part here, okay, and then now this will become heading level 3 because if this is heading level 2, one level below it will be heading level 3. So what are you going to copy out now? This, obviously. So you paste it here, and obviously the text that comes with it, okay. Now you see how I copied the numbering also? Just copy the numbering, okay. Now just another, certain documents might have the word continued here to indicate that the next page is also continuing with the same subheading. Now, in that case, leave out the word continued, but page number, you still copy them into the relevant, as long as this text is still part of this text here, okay. Just copy, all right, don't fix anything. You're just required to copy as it is and check if all the information is fully within the information that you want, okay. If you're done, next. Now same thing, okay. Now we are moving to this subheading. So this subheading, okay, obviously is below, is the same level as this subheading. So which means this is still a heading level 3, okay, and this is also the parent section for that same head, the same section that we're going to copy. The only thing will be is that this will be the new section header, and below, within that, you will start copying the text here now. So before we copy, you realize this italics, obviously you can see that within this section there are subsections here. So again, you need to break them down because they are not well, it's generic terms, which is like economic factors, operating factors, regulatory and other factors. So all this is terms that that are related to the organization. Okay, the organization as in the industry in general. Okay, so now what do we do now? So let's try to first, what do? We copy until here first. Okay, because this is where it stops, right? This is a new subheading. Copy, paste. All right. So now, what do you realize? We have a new parent section, which is this, because there's a new subheading here already. So I'm just going to copy from here. So I'm just going to put this as the new uh, parent section. And now this will become heading level 4. And the first section is this economic. And inside there, the text will be this. Remember to include the bullets. Okay, check, double check if you have included all properly. All right, so this is done. Okay, and then next will be, so again, if you think the document is going to be long, just select 2 and just copy, so that you have like 22 lines already, and all this information is the same. So all you need to do is just work on this parts here. Okay, so, and this is a running number, right? Okay, so next would be risk factors under the certain accommodations. So same thing, same parent section and same header level. The only thing will be different is this right now, which is operating. Within operating factors, you have this text right. And then the last one under parent section risk factors is regulatory and other factors, obviously. And you will have all this information until, okay, so now again, once you have done this, okay, you will realize that it is going back to this type where it's the underline, which is the same level of this header. Okay, the last we check if this is the subheading for this section, correct? So which means right now when we are here, okay, we need to jump back up, not dive one level deeper. Okay, so what level heading is this? So basically what I'm going to do is the parent section for this is obviously this. Okay, so I can either copy it from the spreadsheet here, which is one of this, or I can just copy this right here. Okay, all right, and the heading level obviously is the same as this, three, and the section is, which is the section that we are at right now, this other risk. Okay, and under that section we will just annotate all this. Okay, now what do we do now? Okay, so next we have a new subheading. Okay, seems like this. So item 1, business. Obviously we are now going back to under this. Okay, so before we can jump now, we need to jump back to say, now we are referring to this as the parent section. So I'm just going to copy part 1, paste it here, and heading level will be still this. Okay, now, and the section will be item 1. Hold on, let me just check item 1, because you need to go through the so again, if rather than going through the document like this, another way is for you to go up to the index and see how it is broken down for you. Item 1, business. All right, so which means this is the parent section, this is the what do you call it, this is the subsection. Okay, so what are we supposed to do is, you will say part 1 here will be item 1. Okay, because sorry, you will have, yes, you will have item 1. Let me go to, let's jump. You can use it to jump. Okay, did I, so Item 1. Oh, sorry. It should be together because item 1 business is one heading by itself. Okay. Item 1 business. And then we have item 1A at the bottom. Sorry. So again, item 1 business. Okay. All right. So now within item 1 business, there are certain subheadings and some text that you need to follow. So obviously there's no text directly below item 1 business. So right now we are going to make item 1 into the parent section, and this will be heading number 2 because, okay, so section, what is it? General. Okay, so within the head section general, we have this text right here, which I'm going to just paste. Check if the wording is properly copied. Correct. And then same thing below item 1 business, another time copy. Heading level is still the, oh sorry, I made a mistake. This should be subheading 2 because parent section 1, okay, part 1, okay, and then we are going one level lower, right? So part 1 is one level higher, item 1 business is one level lower, which means this should be heading level 2, item 1 business, and this should be heading level 3 because one level lower item business is general. So again, item business is at item business heading level 3. So after general we have development of our company, and then within that text you have this whole thing. Okay, don't worry about the spacing or anything. All you need to make sure is it's copying until where you want it to copy. And same thing because you have another section here, so it just keeps on uh, going until here. Now one interesting thing is that if you realize this, okay, you see that it's bold and it is underlined, so you know that this is actually a subheading of this. All right, so you need to make sure that when you are taking out the information, all right, you have to remember that uh, uh, you watch out for this information. Okay, now going back to what we have here. All right, development of our, so information about our, and you will copy all the way until, okay, so now next thing, so again below the same header, which is this, we now have the final one, which is Walmart US segment. Oh, see what I did? You need to make sure you double click, and then below it you'll copy until here only, because the next section is actually a subheading, which then tells you that this will become a new parent section, and this will be number 4 because you are diving one level deeper. And then within that you have this, which is the subheading. All right, and within that you will copy, so you need to copy this. So now what are you supposed to copy? You copy all the information that is following this subheading as the text. Sorry, just going to go back here now. Copy, make sure you just copy carefully everything until here. So tables and everything you will be copying, right, that are within the section. Now paste it, make sure everything is there. Okay, if you're going to copy and it doesn't enter covers correctly, you might need to break it down to different sections, and you paste some in text 1, some in text 2. All right, so done. And then the next subheading would be merchandise. So following this same level heading, you will start to copy merchandise as the section header, and followed by until where you have. So again, so this is how basically you will All right, and you will add as necessary as how many numbers you need. Okay, you will just go on and on until you are done all the way to the bottom. Okay, so if there's a heading, subheading, and within there is a table, you will copy the table. All right, and always make sure you need to know how to go one level lower, one sub level lower, and also jump back to the parent section as and when necessary. Okay, now basically what will happen is that once you have done this document, it will look something like this. Okay, it will look something like this, where you will have all the information. Okay, and you see this information here does not change at all. It's the same link, the same document, it's all the same. Only things that change are this according to the heading level. Now once you have extracted everything, you are supposed to then answer these two questions. How many rows are on the delivery sheet? The way you do that is you scroll all the way to the top, click on this, shift control down, and you count the number of rows. Okay, you change this. So there's 206. So you'll go here to the task. Okay, you will select 206, and then number of headers with text. So that is basically, we want to count how many columns are with text. So what you'll do is you'll go all the way to the top here, shift control down all the way until 206, right? That was the number 206, and you'll just see the count here. So out of the 206 items rows that you have, 186 has got header with text. So you will go and put that number 186. Okay, all right, once you have done, you just put in your worker ID or worker alias, depending on which you have been given to. What have you been given? Okay, you'll put in any comments if you necessary. Okay, don't touch this. Then you will just submit the task. Okay. Now, okay. So for the qualification task, you're required to do 4. But if this is a production training, you're using the same training video. Okay, you can just work on as many as you want. Remember, do not submit the task before you actually finish the work. All right. Remember, you need to put in these answers before you actually submit uh, the task. Okay, and just make sure you remember again that what I've told you. We are interested in generic terms that are understandable in the industry. They may be related to the company, but those terms are generic to the industry itself. Okay, we don't want anything that is company specific. For example, company dinner that has been done, or change of new address, or some quote by the CEO. Okay, or anything that is basically not relevant to the industry of public listed, listing a company publicly, the document, I mean. Few things that I want you to remember is, if you have a table header, okay, that is in the document, that header will become a heading by itself. Exclude the company name, obviously. Remember, all the tables and necessary will be copied into the respective text fields. Don't leave anything out. Okay, remember this. And remember, just because it's italics, you need to look at it if it is generic to the industry itself, or if it's not relevant to documentation itself. So in this case, obviously, all these things like operating expenses, income, net loss, liquidity, revenues, all these things are relevant to the SEC concept itself. So all these are subheadings for this header. Okay. So here, these are all some things. And remember, if there is a table, remember to copy the table up below the subheading. And if the table has got its own header, you will need to include that as the header. All right. So don't remember not to leave out anything. Remember to just copy okay, and you're not required to fix the uh, grammar or the full stop or what. Just copy as it is and paste into the relevant sections, okay, and make sure you are very sure with the numbering that you have, okay. Make sure don't miss anything, make sure don't miss any of the elements, and if the text is too long, break it only when it's too long, okay. Now again, this is the training video for Parsec, okay, document extraction. Remember, for the qualification, you will need to do 4 tasks, okay, and if you if you're not sure, you can please reach out to us, okay. Look for the specific trainers, okay, to guide you, and make sure if you find any difference, if you think anything is confusing, please make sure you check this document for any updates, okay. We'll be preparing more edge cases to help you, okay, so please make sure you keep checking this document, okay. But above and beyond of that, you basically need to be able to see here, this is the instruction document, okay, and also this sample spreadsheet here. It's a sample that is given to you, all right. So it's basically it will help you, okay. It will help you to guide you. This is something just for reference, okay. So you can learn from this. Just try to understand the flow and then use this as a guide, all right. So that is all for the training for um, Parsec header abstraction uh, task.